Donc j'y suis allé pour la première fois il y a 6 mois avec le président de la République.
So I went for the first time 6 months ago with the President. The first impression we had is when we drove by car or by train to see the people living in the city, and there, I must say, there is no shock. We could be in any European city. Of course, there are the pagodas, which are very familiar, but there is no culture shock on first impression. If I am going to retain one idea, it is that globalization produces its effects, and ultimately, we are very similar to each other.
What sectors do you consider having the most promise in Chinese-French cooperation and partnership in the years ahead? How can the two countries encourage more bilateral cooperation and investment?
Alors, quand on regarde, évidemment, les intérêts de la France, de l'Europe, sont pas forcément.
So when we look at the interests of France, Europe, they are not necessarily the same as those of China. And when we trade, we sell certain products and certain services that the Chinese have less capacity to provide. And conversely, we buy a lot of products ourselves, textiles, for example. I am thinking of the sanitation sector in particular, where French companies are very present in China. The large aeronautics sector and aviation, where France has important contracts in China. In health, I think there may be strengthened cooperation in the future as well as current ones, because large French companies are established in China. I am thinking of Sanofi, for example. But I'm also thinking about tourism, cultural tourism. 2024 is the year of cultural tourism between China and France, in addition to being the 60th anniversary of diplomatic relations. It stopped with COVID, and there is a difficulty seeing Chinese tourists return to France. Besides, air connections have not been fully resumed to the level they were. But tourism represents big potential. France is very attractive to the Chinese. And the French, for their part, need to regain their confidence to return to China, not just for tourism, but to settle there, to develop economic activities in particular. The Chinese are very advanced today with renewable energies, on wind turbines, on photovoltaic, and on batteries. There are a lot of rare earth minerals which we don't have in Europe, but the Chinese have.